Welcome to Gen Z Hoops, the Gen Z basketball, coaching, and sports business show. On this podcast, you'll learn from professional players, coaches, and executives from all over the world and see the court in a brand new way. And now, joining you courtside, your Gen Z host, John Hartofilis.
Coach Yorgo, what's going on?
Good, Yanni. How are you? Good to see you.
Good. I'm doing great. This episode's been literally in the making since day one of the show. I've been trying to get you on, but we've been trying to do it live. And honestly, I was like, you know what? I just need to get this episode out. So I'm super excited to have you on. I really can't wait to just jump into everything with your career. And obviously, I know it from having trained with you and working with you. But honestly, just having you on the show is just so cool.
I'm excited too. Congratulations for your show. You're doing a great job. Have a great guest as well. And I'm happy for what you're doing, and you're doing great. I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much, Coach. And how's the family doing? How's the little Kostaki? You know, like he's still growing, right? How tall is he now?
Yeah, he's at 4'3" so far, at 4 years old. And everything is good. I have a little daughter, 1.5. She's still 2. And we're getting there. They try to reach my height.
We're trying to get to 7 foot. We'll get right into all of that. I'm really excited for it. Tell us, I'm really curious if you can kind of walk us through maybe your early career in Greece, all the stops you made. I know there's a lot of cool things there, and I know all the teams you play on. Can you kind of just walk us through it really quickly?
Sure. I start playing basketball at the age of 5 at my hometown, Tripoli. It's a really small town, and this is 2 hours away from Athens. I was playing there until 16. That was, a local team. And then from 16 and a half, I signed my first pro contract with Panellinios. It was A1 team, great team, final Euro Cup. They have an amazing roster, NBA players there. I used to play there with Gary Trent, senior. Now his son play for Portland. Pretty much that was my early career. That was like my first steps. And then from that, I played in many other teams as well, many other clubs. The most of my clubs I used to play was in Athens because pretty much that was the best, clubs.
Definitely. And I'm curious, especially being a 7-footer in Greece, obviously you were always tall even from the start. What was it like for you as a kid growing up and kind of always being a big man in Greece and playing that position your entire life?
I just, at the age of 15 in Tripoli, they came up like 2 experienced players and 1 experienced coach. They tried to help me out. I was really big boy. At the age of 15, I was like 310 pounds at 6'6", 6'7", something like that. I looked myself in the mirror and I said, something is wrong. You cannot go further like that. You have to work hard. And returning next summer, I was at 6'10", at 265 pounds. After that, I got in attention of the national team for a young national team. So they got me there. I was starting on the games. And then I've got the agent, and then he was able to help me out to find a professional club as well and sign me. The most important part of my life was when I make the decision to be a coach and study basketball and study sports science and physical education, because I was feeling if I had the right level of coaching when I was younger, I will be able to do even more, and I couldn't have the injuries I will fighting on the later years of my career. Developing, my game and, studying, that helped me, understand better the basketball and doing better in my career as well.
Coach, so when talking about your career, it's awesome thinking about playing with guys like Gary Trent and some great players like that from the NBA that came over to Greece. But you also played against some really good competition. And I always love the story of you talking about the first time you played against Boban Marjanović. It's really funny. And I'd love for you to kind of share with our listeners as to what it was like playing with someone that was actually bigger than you for the first time.
We had a tournament somewhere, I don't even remember, with Feliciakos. And we play against Hemofarm. Hemofarm is a Serbian team. Boban Marjanović used to play for them. And they played on the first game against a Spain team. We play against an Italian team. We both won. And then we had a final between between the teams. So on the first game, Boban had like 17 points on the first half, dunking over the players. I was watching the game. I was like, "Oh my God, this guy can dunk over the players without even jump and just extend his arm and dunk in the ball." I was like really shocked on the first place. Back then, he wasn't, the player he's right now. He developed a lot since then, but he was a great talented and he was huge. So next day we had our game, and when we shake the hands, I was like really shocked. I never seen biggest, palm on my whole life. I was like, oh my God. And really had a great game. I really played great against him as well. But he was excellent, like a player and a sportsmanship as well. He's a great guy. But really, that was the first time I've got so shocked about the players. And on the same summer, we were somewhere. Oh, we were in Serbia with a national team, play against China, I think, and was a guy even taller than him, 7'6", something like that. And I said, you know what? I'm not tall anymore. I don't feel like I'm a tall player anymore.
It's awesome thinking about that story about Boban and playing against someone like him who's really truly a one of one. I'm curious too when you brought up how when you're scoring 17 points in the half, it doesn't sound that crazy to us here in America, but you've obviously told me a million times about how your games in Greece were going to 60 points max because of how hard the defense was. Can you kind of talk a little bit about the difference that you see between the style of play over there in Europe and the style of play here in the States?
Look, the most of the coaches coaching at Europe, they really concentrated on the strategy and on the plan, offensively and defensively. There is no so many easy baskets. There is no so many turnovers, and we play way slower rhythm the ball. So we try always to find the best possible shot for the team. So we don't really rushing shots, even if some players they are very talented. The coaches they really control the game in Europe. Here, the athletic abilities are higher, of course. They play more on freestyle, but don't get me wrong. This is more about the NBA style because in high school and in a good level of high schools and good colleges, they play great defense too. You see, the games are when you're watching European style basketball, it's like you're watching like Division One best 10 of colleges playing. So the way they playing, we play as well. We pressing the ball, and then we try to keep all the opponents on the line of 60-65 points.
Definitely also thinking about the physicality over there in Europe. And then I'm also curious about, obviously, you being a big man, and you've written articles before talking about the big man and the difference that you see between big men but whether it's at the Division I level, overseas. What are your biggest things with maybe even when developing a big man that you really focus in on? Obviously, from my experience with you, obviously I know the mic-ins and all that stuff is a huge part of it. But what is it with footwork and all that stuff that really sticks out to you?
Sure. Look, first of all, everybody is different, and everyone needs a different kind of practice to develop. So mostly I'm trying to read the players, help them out, specialize on these things, and then on the weakest part to work a lot so they don't have really weak parts on their game that they can kill in the game. For example, if I see one of my players cannot dribble left or cannot go for a left hook shot and is a big man, I working with weak hand development and all this stuff. When the technology help us out too, scout the players more and take more videos, was way easier for me to go and see exactly what my players need before even they come to me. For example, they send me videos and stuff. I scout them, I make the schedule, and then they're coming to me, and I'm ready to help them out. One of the players I did that here was Ryan Smith, came from Division I college, double-figure numbers, and then he went to Spain, and because of the the COVIDs, they stopped the championship.
Awesome stuff there with whether it's your playing career, the differences you've seen from all levels of the game. You always stress to me, school always comes first. Tell us a little bit about how all that studying and what exactly you were studying and how that kind of prepared you for this lifetime of coaching and training.
I was always telling you and telling all my players and everybody I was trained, school is always first. And no matter what, you have to go and study something you love. and something you care about. So you're going to be able to be good at it. That was, whenever I decide to play basketball, decide I want to study something on the sports science and physical education somewhere in this area, or maybe, sport medicine or something like that. But I decided to go to the University of Athens of Physical Education and Sports Science, and that's changed completely my way of thinking as a player as well, because I was a professional player at the same time. In Europe, I want to mention you can study and be professional as well. We don't have like university leagues, college leagues. If you are good enough, you go from 18 to pro, or you just go on the lower divisions. In Greece, we have A1, A2, B, C, and then we have the local divisions. So we have like seven levels of the leagues. So if you are young, you start low and you are able to go step by step on the first league. I've got decided to play basketball. I decided to study that as well. It was amazing how opened my eyes in everything and how clearly I was able to see the things that I never had my attention before. So I was looking in every single detail, and that helped me a lot as a coach right now. I'm always focusing on the little details, and I'm the coach. My philosophy is if you are overall phenomenally sound, and then you just, having like two things you are mastering and specialized in something, you're able to do very, very well at the game if you're able to follow the game and you're athletic on that level. Especially here, there's no way to be able to play and to compete in a high level without to be athletic enough. So I studied as a trainer, as a coach, and I play and I had my professional career. That gave me and opened my mind in anything. And I was able to help my players with different ways, helping me, physically, on the skills, helping them with everything they need on the live game, on 5-on-5, whatever they need to.
It's super interesting to think about all that and how it's helped you in this transition for you. I'm really curious about, obviously, when you came to the US in 2017. That's when I met you and I started working with you, and I saw tremendous results, of course. Just a few months of knowing you, I'd never played high school basketball before. I'd gotten cut 3 years in a row, and then the following year I made the varsity team, and the rest is history to where now I'm coaching. So, well, there's definitely other success stories. That's one, of course, that I think is just a testament to all the great work you've done. Can you tell us about that whole transition of you coming to the USA in 2017 and starting to train kids, whether just in any way you could? What was that whole experience like for you, and coming to a whole new country and trying to now meet all these people and start a business?
When I first came in the US, as you said, in New York, I didn't know many people. It was a brand new experience for me, but I knew I was good in something. And whenever you are, if you do something good, you are able to find the ways to make it work. So whenever I was in Greece and playing basketball, I was trained only professionals and only high level players. So when I first came here, that was the first time I really trained kids and trained people they try to get there. So that was the hardest and the most the part I was needed to adjust on my coaching, because I love what I'm doing and I'm really, how I am with my players and how much, I giving them everything, because they are everything for me too, as well. This is how I spend the most of my days. Sometimes my players, they see me more than my family, and they are part of my family as well right away. So I giving them the most and everything, I can to help them out from any different way I can. The most important is, as I told you, to love what you're doing, and then everything, will come soon or less. But I really believe if you are patient in something and you really work hard, and the people, they will find you no matter what you do. So I'm trying to give everything to my players and helping them out and build this kind of connections that, like, I see you now doing this stuff. And when I was remember you, like, you're a little one, it's huge, and I'm so proud. I'm feel like, I'm your basketball dad, something like that. And this is great. And whatever you said before, being a good coach or not, I will let somebody else to say about me. You don't get in the credit. The players, they get whatever they deserve. So it was in your hand. You work hard, you get into the team. I'm trying to give you the best I can. I will do everything for my players, but if you don't want to work, there's nothing I can do for. So that's why I said, the credit is always go to the players. The coaches, they trying to be there and helping them every possible way they can do. And being on the sides, you're not just a coach when you train the player and on that hour, on 2 hours, on 3 hours, or 4 hours a week, no matter what. You are there and try to guide your player and don't let them do the mistakes you have done in your life, and try to help them out make the right decision as well. So, short story, I love what I'm doing, and I love have these connections built from zero with my players. It was a new experience, but at the same time, I love, because it's like I start a new life when I stopped basketball, right? When I retired 2016, I said to myself, I'm a coach now. I will do my best. I was working with professionals. Then I came here and I said, that's my job. I will do the best I can for myself, my family, and my players.
Well, of course, and you've definitely done above and beyond that. Moving on, though, obviously, right after you came to the States, you started working with the Rick Mahorn Big Man Camp, and I came with you right after my senior year to Michigan, and it was the only time in my life, being 6'4", that I ever felt short, because everyone there at that camp was 7 foot tall. I remember we got into the plane, and a couple guys get on the plane, and they're all like crouching to get in, and I'm like, oh my god, those guys are the guys from they're flying to Michigan too. Definitely so much fun going to that experience. But can you kind of touch on what kind of went into doing that camp, how you ran it, and the drills you put a whole group of 15 to 20 7-footers through?
First of all, was my great pleasure and my great honest for me, to work with a great player, and one, of the best men I know, Rick Mahorn. It's for me, to me, and to a lot of basketball players, he's a legend. He's done so much in his career. At the same time, he's a great person too. Same as Mitch Smith, the athletic psychologist of the camp. He organized the camp and he brought me there and he gave me this opportunity. And since then, we work all together as a group. We're doing camps, and as you said, you've been on the Michigan. We did also, you remember, we did in Fordham University as well here in New York. And then we planned for this year to do it in Israel, in Tel Aviv. On the camp, we work in everything pretty much, physically, mentally, and on the live game as well. And there's no many camps that work in all these sides of the game. Being able to coach with Rick and stand next to him and learn from him and run the camp together and with Mitch was a great pleasure. And I always learn and try to get better as a coach and try to give the best I can to my players as well. As you said, there was huge guys there, and we had 7'4" guys, Division One. We have a lot of really good talents and players. They're doing great, and now we watch them in ESPN and stuff like that too. And in the future, I believe a lot of them, they will be able to play in NBA level too. If you ask me about skills and stuff they're working on, we start. So when you have a bunch of group, 20 players, you don't really know. You have seen just videos of them, but you don't know them, personally. You're working, you're getting from the start, show them the basic, and try to get them on the way to learn the routine, what they have to do to develop when you're not there. So you don't just doing just drills, because if you're doing drills and nothing left on your mind, you just waste your time. I'm trying to show you drill and tell you why you're doing that, when you're doing that, and how you're going to be able to build your own practice to be able to develop and get better while you're not trained with us and being by yourself. Because the most of the players, they getting better by working individually and on their crafts, on the things they want to do. I remember, one of the old videos of Michael Jordan playing on this basket. The rim was, like that, was like crazy, and said, I will spend all my day here, the time I've got cut from the high school, and I came back on the next year to beat everybody. So he was getting better every single time he was on the court. That's why is the best player ever. So what I'm trying to say, pretty much, working individually and working and see your mistakes and videos, that's going to help you develop. So on the camp, we will watch together your videos. We will tell you what you're doing wrong, the things you have to work. We're going to give you exercises for that. You're going to work mentally with Dr. Meet Smith. And also you're going to have your private time with Rick. He will tell you as well everything he needs to.
It's incredible to think about all the great work you're doing with Rick Mahorn Big Man Camp, especially considering that since Pete Newell's Big Man Camp stopped decades ago, there's really no other Big Man Camp in the entire United States. So it's incredible to see how that tradition is still going on. I, for one, have never seen so many guys get dunked on in such quick succession. I feel like every time down the court there, everyone's 7 foot. It's all 10 guys or 7 foot. Guys are getting posterized every single turn. I definitely had a few missteps. So definitely a fun time there. And then I want to transition a little bit to your new basketball academy, Galiotos Basketball Academy, the GBA. I was so excited to hear when you called me over the summer to tell me that you were starting this. I'm seeing the logos come in, seeing everything start. The website looks great. Tell us a little bit about what your hope is for that, and kind of what it was like getting it started.
Because of the whole situation with COVID and the whole shutdown, I had a little bit more time working for the academy and create the academy again with Dr. Meet Smith. We did together. I just want to continue what I'm doing on the academy. We offer, private practices, group sessions, and then we run tournaments and camps and stuff we will announce soon. It's great to have you as an assistant coach as well there. I'm hoping, the Galiotos Basketball Academy, like our motto said, make champions on and off the court. And this is what I'm trying to do. We don't just care what you're doing inside when you're playing. We care about your whole life and career and try to guide you and help you in everything you want to do. So we try to be a little bit more than just basketball and focusing on of our players' lives.
So excited to see all the great things that are going to happen there with GBA, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be a part of it. So can't wait to see it take off. I'm kind of curious about some of the players you have with GBA, guys like Spiro Drenis, who are really showing out now in the shortened season his team's having due to COVID. What are you seeing from him, and who are some guys from GBA that we should all be looking out for?
Spiro is one of the greatest players I have, and he's a great kid. He has a lot of potential, and he's working really hard. So far, they start the season, they have 3 games so far. They win all of them, and Spiro has 21 points average. But to me, as you know, it's not just the points, it's just your overall performance on the game. And what he's doing for his team, he's doing great job, and he make me always proud of him. We have a lot of players too. I working with guys from England. I have a 7'4" kid at 20 years old, really great potential, too. We're working, and I have a lot of players. I have a lot of younger players as well. When your players knows you and know the fundamentals of basketball, you're able to do more. When you go on the workout plans and just train them, physically, they just follow your leads. So no matter you are there, or you can do it online too, if they have some equipment. But, right now, on the way we train the players and the way the the past like 10, 20 years, the way we train is using more your body, BOSU, and all this kind of stuff that's easy to find and that's not a big cost. So you can do everything pretty much in your house and follow my lead when you're working online with me.
Awesome, Coach George. And to wrap things up, I've stressed how important hard work is. And obviously it's a cliche you hear all the time from coaches everywhere, and they always talk about it. But you've put such a premium on it to me that it's really stood out to me because you always talk about it. And you really take accountability very seriously and really key in on the fact that you really have to always put in 100% effort. And while it's something you might hear all the time, I think you do a great job of really bringing it home to your players and really making them understand why it's so important and why it's not just a cliche. So can you talk to us a little bit about what that means to you and what it's done for you in your life?
There is nothing you can do in your life and to be successful if you don't really work hard for it. I'm telling all the players I train, this is the first. Work hard, have a guidance, what you have to do, and then give the 100% every single practice, every single game, every single moment you spend with a basketball in your hands or not, or on your workouts. Say it like this to my players. It's like you have two players, they run together, and one of them is going 100%, and the other one, stopping by, to rest a little bit. And always the player who's continues running, going 100%, he will win the race, right? It's something like that too. When you're working hard and the other player, you have to compete and might, try both to get one scholarship, and there's one place, 2,000 people, that's gonna, matters more is the talent, of course, but always hard work beat talent. That's a cliche too, but that's the truth. To me, there's a talent just to be disciplined and follow instructions. Besides that, everything else in basketball, you can learn it. You might don't get the opportunity at the time you want or you need, but if you continue, let's say you play in the first year in college and you get cut, and then you said, oh, okay, I'm gonna keep going, you're gonna get better. And when the coach sees you next year, you work so hard, he will realize in the first place, and you say, you know what, I will give him the chance because he saw me that he really wanted. So you have nothing to lose in your life by working hard. You're always gonna win stuff and achieve stuff and doing your life better. And then there is another story too. When you're closing your eyes, you go to sleep, you try to relax, kind of things coming in your head, like the stuff you have done, right? Sometimes you don't feel well with yourself, you don't feel good if you don't give the 100%. This is what I'm trying to say to my players too. You have to go give the 100% every time. So even in 10 years from now, when you're gonna think about yourself on a young age, you will say, you know what, I did the best I could, no matter what, I did the best, and this is what I have done.
I've heard this about maybe 100 times, whether it's at practice, walking back in the car, on the phone with you. It means a lot to me for you to come and talk about it on the show, as well as share your entire story. So Coach George, Coach Yorgo, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I really can't wait for our listeners to see not just how great of a trainer you are, but how much of an impact you've had on my life, as well as so many other young basketball players. So thank you.
So it is really my pleasure and my honor, somebody to come to me and want me to help him out. I will be always watching my players and try to follow them in every step, and I will try to be always there when they need me in everything. Like, you can call me anytime and I will always answer to you, and I will always get back to you, because this is what I try to build with my players. I really love them. When you spend time with your players, you're sweating together, you're working together, you're pushing each other, you try to get them better, you give everything to them, you cannot feel like less more than love and really caring about them. So whenever you do something good, I'm 10 times proud.
Thanks for listening to Gen Z Hoops. Make sure to follow, like, and subscribe on Instagram, LinkedIn, and all major social media platforms at Gen Z Hoops. You can tune in and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and every other podcast platform on the planet. Get ready for the next episode.